Hey, I'm Ethan.
Hey, I'm Mike.
I watched the first half of Bloody Mama.
I watched the second half of Bloody Mama.
And this is the other half.
Shelly Winter Wonderland.
Well,
Yeah?
I think we found the worst movie. I think we found the worst Shelly Winters movie.
Oh, did we?
I think we found the movie that even Shelly can't save this.
Not even Robert De Niro himself can save it.
Is he in this movie?
He's one of the sons,
one of
my
the
man.
boys?
Yeah, he's one of the boys.
Oh my God. Which
Yeah.
one is he?
He's the one that goes to bed with Rembrandt.
The guy who loves the drugs.
Yeah, he's the guy that likes dope. That's him. Not even Bruce Stern can save this movie.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, what? He's in Nebraska. He loved Nebraska. He's the old man in Nebraska. He's in this movie
You think
too.
I'm gonna recognize this motherfucker and this like young boys in this movie? I'm not gonna recognize him in here.
Either way, yeah,
Listen,
no. This star-studded cast. Not even Roger Corman can save this movie.
No one can save this movie.
Yeah.
Boy, what a film. You know, I realized this is another movie that's called an exploitation film.
Yes, similar to what is it? What's the Matter with Helen? And the other one that we watched,
Anti-Roo.
Anti-Roo. Yeah,
true. This one is definitely more on the side of what I thought an exploitation film would be, where it's just like we're doing violence and sex and gross things, bad degenerate things, because we can, baby. The Hays Code's over. Let's do it. 1970s. Let's go, baby.
This was Roger Corman's whole thing. Yeah, he directed this movie, produced it. He directed a lot of movies. Some of the movies he didn't actually direct. He actually so you saw that Robert De Niro's in the movie. You didn't see Robert De Niro's in the movie. He was.
I believe you. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. He's on this credit list. Yeah.
Some of the directors and actors that worked with Corman before they were big were Jack Nicholson, Martin Scorsese, Francis Ford Coppola. A lot of them would co-direct these sorts of movies, so that's probably like how a lot of them like got in contact with certain actors in this as well. But Corman was known for making movies very cheaply, very quickly, and trying to just get money, basically.
Okay.
That sounds like exploitative, and most times it was because he was just straight up making exploitation films. But he really was the guy that was like, I'm going to make these movies that make a lot of money, and then I'm going to use that money to make like art house films or give it to like art directors. Or
he did The Little Shop of Horrors.
He did Little Shop of Horrors.
Probably the biggest one I noticed from this list of this filmography here.
But he made a lot of movies, as you can see. And
this is one of his later ones.
Yes. I mean, it's pretty clear.
It's pretty clear. He's like, I'm phoning this one in. You know what they want? They want violence.
They want violence. They want sex. They want degeneracy. And he was willing to give it to him. Boy howdy. It's also very much inspired by I definitely got the vibe of like the Bonnie and Clyde movie as well. Like the way it was shot, the fact it's about like, gunmen and
Yes, that's very true, but I think Bonnie and Clyde actually had, I don't know, a message.
Yeah.
A thrilling conclusion, I assume.
I mean, this was a pretty thrilling conclusion
you
in
think
this
it's
as well. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't know what the conclusion is.
I'm getting some feelings that you might have liked this movie a little bit.
I kind of did.
Really?
I kind of did.
Really? All right.
I will say,
let me tell you.
The degeneracy was hinted at because I think she does awful things to her sons, right?
Oh, yeah, it's mostly hinted. You don't really see it.
You don't ever see it, but it's very heavily
I guess you do see it a little bit, but
hinted
not much.
that she like probably molests her sons.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. It's just very a lot.
It is a lot.
And it's based off a real person. I never heard of them.
Me neither.
Called
Ma Barker,
which apparently, so this is really funny. There was someone in the Batman series, 1966 Batman series.
Yes.
Shelly Winters herself played Ma Parker, who was based off of the original person. Then she got the role for this based on that.
Really?
Which is really funny.
I didn't know that.
And the opening scene is amazing of her introduction. It's literally like, "You're Mother of the Year." And she's like, "Yes." And they're like, "Do you want to say anything?" And she pulls out Tommy Gunn's gun and says, "Stick 'em up." And I'm like, what an amazing intro. In Batman?
Oh, that sounds awesome.
That sounds real good.
I love that.
But yeah, so this movie is wild to me.
Yes, it is.
It's a wild movie. So it starts off. Let me see if you like this movie after I tell you what happens.
You know what? I'm not going to stand by it.
No, I know. That's fair. I feel like you're teetering on like, I kind of liked it, but if you tell me...
I liked aspects of it.
All right, so the movie starts off with a little girl running through a forest.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, and guess what? Some boys are following her.
Oh, no.
And a dad.
Oh, no.
Uh-huh, that's right.
No.
Yeah, and it's a really weird scene. It's completely silent. Like you just hear the rustling of the leaves.
Yeah.
And then you got, Kate, you have no respect for your pa. And the boys tackle her and hold her down, and the paw says, "Blood is thicker than water." And then the next scene, you see her, and she starts crying. And then the next scene, she says, as a little girl says, "Gonna have me some boys, and wasn't any one of them who wouldn't kill for me, and I wouldn't kill for them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you call family, mama's boys." So after being molested basically by her family, she's like, you know what?
Assaulted.
Men are cool. I'm going to have more of them.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
Well, it is weird, but it is also a thing of like, hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people, but this is literally a conclusion right after the fact.
Okay, fair. This is obviously like a fictionalized, probably like someone fictionalized version of like events for this
it absolutely
too, right?
is
like,
fictionalized.
This is what exploitation is. It's like she did this, and like what would be super shocking if she also did the same thing and like had a bunch of boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
I don't know.
Maybe, sure.
I don't know. I'm not going to say that sounds fucking awful. Not a fan of that.
Not a fan of that. But anyway, we got some jaunty tunes. And there's a song performed by the band Bigfoot called Bloody Mama. And it basically sings about
Bloody Mama.
And then at the very end of the title credits, it says, "Any similarity to Kate Barker and her sons is intentional."
Really?
Yeah. I mean, these are people who robbed people in the 30s, and this was in the 70s. So they're like, fucking. I mean, she obviously was a bad person. So we're just going to really exploit her deeds. So the movie starts out then, the real movie actually, with Shelly Winters appearing, and it's all these naked boys taking a bath. I'm going to show Mike
what are you doing here?
exactly what the opening shot is. All these boys in the bath. Do not tell me that does not look like this, like some gay porn. It's going to start.
Sure does look like porn.
Yep, it's going to happen. There's just a boy in a bucket.
They're all naked.
They're naked. Like, some of them have like
naked.
Overalls, and the overalls do not have anything under the overalls, so they're not really overalls. Then they're just clothes.
Yeah, she looks very comfortable, just like hanging out with them too.
Yo, she's having a great time, and they're all their shirts are hanging off, and they just look weird. It is a weird inbred little group of people looking here. It's a lot. So I see that and I'm like, wow, what's going on? And these boys are noisy. So the sheriff shows up and is like, "Mom, I'm here to talk about them boys." And she's like, "Oh, my boys didn't do nothing, I bet." And the sheriff's like, "Boys, did you tell your mom what you did to that Turner girl?" And she's like, stop bugging my boys. They just stole a pie and all that." And then when the boy says, "Susie Turner does it with everybody." And the sheriff says, "She doesn't do it with nobody. And she doesn't do it and get her arm broke doing it."
Oh no.
And then of course Shelly Winters is like, "Who's saying this lie? I believe my boys." And sheriff's like, "Oh, Susie Turner said so." And then Shelly says, "Spit on her for me. She's a liar." I'm like, oh my God.
This is amazing. I'm now looking at Ethan's notes, by the way. Don't usually see them.
I don't know why I'm showing you my notes.
I know.
Fuck you. I'm giving my notes back.
So many cool, like, caps and like question marks and exclamation points. You were having a very visceral reaction to this film.
No, that's usually how I take notes anyway.
Oh. I guess I wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. This is the first time seeing it. I don't know why I'm showing them to you.
I don't know. Well, you showed me the image.
I showed you the picture, and I was like,
just a
I gotta
minute
really
ago.
show you everything else.
Yeah.
By the way, audience, that picture will be in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So the next scene is her slapping all the boys. You're like, oh, she's disciplining them.
Mm-hmm.
She's disciplining them for like probably molesting that lady and
Yeah,
assaulting her. She's slapping them and saying, "You're all disgusting. That lady is disgusting. You need to have sex with people who are equal to you."
Jesus.
And then we got to move now. And they all pack up and move because the damn deputy's always getting involved because those boys keep causing trouble.
She's got a bunch of hellraisers.
A bunch of hellraisers.
Yeah.
But her husband, I think George is his name. Yeah, George. He's got to stay home. She says, "Fuck that man. He's useless."
I don't think I've ever seen George.
You never see him again because he's there, and she says, "All right, we're going to leave. And you got to tell everyone back at home, me and the boys are gone forever." And he's like, "Will I ever see you again?" She's like, "Well, if you ever come find me, you'll find me in a palace, and you'll find me in the best place you ever known. But you know what, George? You never did mount me proper or made a decent living." And then she leaves. I'm like, what the hell?
Damn, never mounted me proper.
I know. So she drives off with the boys in this old car that it seems like they probably stole from the sheriff.
Now, by boys, they are like grown.
Oh yeah, they're probably in their early 20s. At least.
At least. I don't know how old they're supposed to be in the movie.
I don't know how old they're supposed to be, but clearly stunted mental growth for sure. Probably from abuse or whatever.
Yeah.
And the boys are like, "Are you gonna divorce him, Ma?" And she's like, "We don't divorce in this family. By the way, George isn't a loser." Because all the boys are like, "He sucks. We hate our dad."
Yeah.
We love our mom, though. We definitely don't have mommy issues. This isn't Mommy Issues, the movie.
Yet again, another Shelley Winters movie that centers around mommy issues.
And let me tell you, she has very conservative values. Very, very conservative values.
Yeah.
That she doesn't adhere to.
No.
She's just a weird character that I don't really... Like, most of the time she's good at towing the line between, like, someone who has a set value and then goes away from them.
Right.
Like, this is so... I don't know, two off the ends, like two complete opposites of a character that it's almost impossible for anyone. And I just think it's the way the writing is written. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I'm not really sure. Am I supposed to feel sympathy for any of these people? I don't know. Am I just supposed to be like, this is fun to watch these people fuck around? And
I think that's what it's supposed to be. I think you're supposed to just sort of be in awe of like, wow, these people were really dangerous and terrible.
It's like watching Clockwork Orange, but not having any message or payoff
or the artistry of the way it's shot
or or anything like that, or consistent characters or acting or anything, or I don't know.
That's the other thing about Corman movies. These movies, you can tell how cheap it is. Like the audio mix is
it's terrible.
Whenever they're in a room, you can hear the echo.
Oh yeah, they definitely did not ADR this. They're like, we can hear them. It's fine. Just tone it up a little bit.
Oh my god, yeah.
There's a montage of the world has changed a lot. She's narrating it. Women.
She narrates the movie.
Narrates
That's right.
it. She says women are showing off their bodies. An anti-lynching bill was trying to be passed in Congress, but lots of people marched to stop it. It shows a bunch of people in KKK outfits.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, we ain't much for politics. We stole though if we had to. And I'm like, that's okay, sure.
There you go.
A lot of people don't get involved with politics and then are just like, clearly they have stances. Clearly.
Oh yeah,
clearly.
Exactly. Honestly, pretty realistic representation of certain types of people so
you're
far.
Not wrong.
Yeah, people who hold hard moral stances but are unwilling to actually keep themselves.
And it's definitely held to a like almost comedic value because it's definitely over the top.
Yeah.
So then the boys are just hanging out in the car that they stole, and they're trying to cross at a ferry. And they get on the ferry. They drive up. A car drives behind them. And the ferryman comes over and is like, hey, it costs this much. And he's like, okay, we'll go get the money. And they look, and they're short. They don't have the 50 cents it takes to cross the ferry. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, all right. And they just pull out wrenches and rob the guy.
Whoa.
And take his $2. Oh no, they did not take $2. They actually made quite a bit of money off this guy. So it's like $14. And then since they're high off of this robbery, they're like, him. I'm gonna go. No, they don't murder him. Oh. They go to the guy in the back and in the car behind them and break his window, pull him out, beat him up for his $2.
Damn.
And then Herman is one of the boys. He puts
I called him Mustache Man.
Well, yeah, he does have a mustache at this point, so a little hard for me to put him that way. Yeah. But he eventually does grow one. He puts his foot on the man's neck, and all the boys are like, oh, Mama's not gonna like if you kill him. And he's like, I don't care. I'm damaged. You see in his face, he says that. He doesn't say that out loud.
Sure.
And then he, kills the guy.
Wow.
On his neck. And it's just this scene of just this ferry boat in the middle of nowhere, and just, well, I guess we killed that person. Oh, well, that's that.
Yeah.
They go back to Mom. Mom's like, oh, Herman had one of his bad moments, didn't you, Herman?
One of his bad
moments.
Not
He's
again.
like, I didn't mean to kill him, Ma. And she's like, oh, well, you can sleep with Mom tonight. And then they sing a hymn. And I'm like, the way they're saying you can sleep with Mom tonight sounds like a little more than just, oh, you share the same bed.
No, yeah.
Also, those guys are grown man, so like, come on.
Yeah. It is very heavily implied.
Yeah,
yes.
so then they sing a hymn. Herman's with a sex worker.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you see her in the movie.
Is her name Nora?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And
she's gonna be his girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah. And he's like, do you like me? And she's like, you're a freak. And there's also one of the brothers outside watching. And he's like, you should marry her if she's cooking as good as Mama. And she's like, oh, I don't think anyone would want to marry me. I mean, I don't think anyone has enough money to give me a diamond ring. And cut to the next scene. They're robbing a jewelry store.
Boom. He's going to get her that
ring. He's almost kills the guy at the jewelry store, but he doesn't this time.
Oh, character development.
I know, right? He's really changed.
He's really developing.
Totally. Yeah. So he comes back home, gives some jewelry to his mom, but not a whole lot, just a little bit. And she's like, okay, well, thank you. Is there anything else? And he's like, I don't know. I assume it's not shown. I assume he gives the rest to his lady friend.
Of course.
And now they go to, so that robbing happens. Ma's happy. They go to a little party. There's a little party. It seems like a fundraiser for the local fire department.
Mm-hmm. And they're going to steal from fire people.
Yeah. Herman's like, I'm going to steal some cash from the local fire department. Help me out, Freddy. And Freddy's another guy. Freddy is another brother, not just another guy.
Just another dude.
He's another dude there. Yeah. Hey, man.
Hey, Freddy, help me.
Want to help me rob some people?
Well, what about your brothers?
You guys are always getting into crimes.
Yeah.
So he goes, and Freddy causes a distraction by stealing some clothes that were being hung up at this party, and some lady finds him and is like, hey, this guy's stealing clothes, and everyone like runs at the guy stealing the clothes at Freddy. During that time, the pot with all the fire department money is there, and Herman tries to steal it, but a couple people find him, and they tackle him, and he tries to beat him up, but they beat him down, and they take the funds away, and Herman's just like, oh, I got fucking caught. And then the decoy dude, Freddy, runs into just... into the forest away, and of course runs into a naked couple just so a lady can run away naked and you can see her butt.
You can see your butt, yeah.
And he also ends up getting caught.
Oh, no. Not Freddy.
Not Freddy. I know, our favorite. Hope he doesn't get fingered. So then...
In this movie.
Well,
yeah.
I have to break it to you.
Yeah.
So then 1929 happens. Shelly Winters is like, this is a bad year for folks. Herman and Freddy were in jail.
The Depression.
Yep. But luckily, my boy Herman and Freddy were in jail with a roof over their head, getting 3 square meals a day. And so Freddy's sitting there, and he's walking on some guys, I guess his prison mate.
Walking on them?
Walking on them. Doing a walk-on massage. You've seen those, right? Where people, like, walk on other people's backs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He's doing that, and he's just like, my mama told me this was an Ozark massage. And he's like, yeah, my brother's in another place. My brother loves beating up guys, but I don't. And so he sits down on the bunk. I don't like beating up guys. And so the other guy's like, you don't like beating up people, but do you like getting beat up? He's like, no. And he just starts humming. And then the other guy, does prison things. We'll just say that to Freddy. Yeah.
Oh, well then.
What a fun movie! Woohoo!
All right. This movie might be worse than Deck the Halls.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So, yeah, that happened. So then Herman is in his other cell. He's praying to the Lord. And someone, the prisoner's like, that guy's a creep. And he loses it, just beats the shit out of that guy. Herman just beats the absolute hell out of this man.
Something's wrong with him.
I know. I gotta talk about Herman. So then we cut back to Mom. And Ma's home. And she's telling the other boys, I'm gonna bust out your brothers. What we need to do is we need to get a bunch of money and a good lawyer. We could bust them out of anything. And Lloyd, Robert De Niro.
Yeah, you picked up as Robert De Niro.
Yeah, is sniffing glue while working on. Well, I noticed because I'm like, this is a handsome guy. This is a handsome man right here.
He is very handsome.
He's a very handsome dude. I think he's the one in the bathtub too in the opening shot. But so if you want to see a little more De Niro, check the show notes. So then Brother Lloyd's sniffing glue while working on airplanes, and like she's like, "You're really having a good time with those airplanes. You really get goofy." And it's just like, what is this character? Like, clearly she knows these boys are doing bad things, but she also wants to turn a blind eye to certain things. Like her moral code is all over the place because she's very conservative. She doesn't like cussing.
Right.
She listens to, she obviously sings hymns. She's very a godly person in her mind. But then she's clearly doing horrible things at the same time.
And her sons are as well.
And her sons are like sniffing glue, and she can't be like, oh, that's cool. Like, all right. Like, she just draws lines of the most weirdly arbitrary things.
Yeah.
And sure, I get it. It's like supposed to be an exploitation film that's over the top and showing people that, like, look how much of a hypocrite they are.
But how hard of a job must have this been for Shelly Winters?
It really is. And honestly, I don't think she can handle it.
Yeah, it's a lot. It seems like too much.
She's written in 2 different directions.
Yeah,
she has to somehow be like, this is a real character I could kind of believe even if they're kind of hyped up. No, she just seems like a cartoon weird-ass villain. But I guess that's the point of this movie, right? Like,
I think
it's
so.
kind of hard when I'm like in the zone of like, I know this is the genre of the movie and what it should be doing.
Right. But it's not something you enjoy watching.
But it's not really fun or enjoyable or like, I don't really... I mean, I'm sure there's good exploitation films out there. I'm sure.
Yeah, this is not one of them.
This just doesn't feel like one of them, you know? Yeah. I'm trying to see what people like about this movie. Anyway.
I liked Robert De Niro. He was cool looking.
So far, you've said one good thing about this movie. So Ma's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do one big job. So she goes and robs a bank. with her boys. She pulls out a Tommy gun, holds up the bank, says, all right, listen here. And I think this is probably the best part for Shelly Winters is she's holding up a bank and says, this here is Simon. We're going to play a game of Simon Says. And this here, the Tommy gun, is Simon. Simon says, get on the floor. And so they start taking all the money out of the vault. She says, you two fat ladies, come here. We're going to take you hostage. And they take these ladies and they put them on the side of the car. So there's like 4 ladies hiding on the side of the getaway car.
So they can't be shot at.
And they start driving away and escaping. And the police follow them. And the police do not give a shit and just start shooting anyway at these ladies on the car.
That's crazy. They shoot at the ladies?
So
they shoot the ladies?
They do not hit them, but they start shooting. Yeah. And it doesn't matter. So the police are shooting. They start shooting back with the Tommy gun. And then she's like, you dumb bitch, you silly bitch, get out of here. I'm going to knock you off because clearly you ain't helping. So she starts knocking a lady off. And it does work. When the cars crash, she seems to be okay. And they escape happily.
That sounds very exciting.
It's definitely cheap. It's okay. You know, honestly.
But they are driving like period cars.
They are driving period cars. It does look all right.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's
better or worse than Maximum Overdrive.
It is better than Maximum Overdrive. I will say this is the most entertaining little nugget of the whole movie for me.
Yeah. Because there's no like sexual assault happening.
Yeah, turns out that really puts a damper on my liking of things.
Yeah.
So then, they drop the ladies off and they strip them down naked, and Shelly says, Listen, I want you to know, we're not sex perverts.
Yeah.
Even though literally she's like, all the boys are like, these women are ugly. Although one of them's like, I will take that one on the left. I would like her. She's like, we're not going to do anything with that. But I addressed y'all because we don't want y'all looking too fast for help. Now I'm going to go get my boys out of the clink. And then they get a lawyer, I assume.
That's crazy. They can steal that money, get a lawyer, and the lawyer's like, sure.
I guess I'll take this tons of money and get someone out who not ask questions.
Yeah, exactly. No questions asked, sure.
But I think this did probably really happen. Like, they probably did do something like that. I don't know.
I've done zero.
I did no research.
Like
all I know is that apparently people were saying that, like, she never did any crimes herself, but she just condoned all her boys.
Her
and everyone
sons
thought
did them all,
taught that, robbing is good. You get money from it. Anyway, so the boys are back. And that Freddie has a new friend named Kevin Dirkman, who I'm sure you recognize.
Let me see.
That is Freddie's...
I think Kevin is Bruce Dern.
Yeah, he is the friend of Freddie, and, the friend who taught him, who was getting his back walked on, that guy. So I guess it's so wild to be like, also bust out my fucking
friend,
my friend out of prison, I guess.
Yeah,
whatever,
for a different crime.
Do
that, Mr. Lawyer Man.
And then I forgot Mustache Man got with Mona,
right?
But Ma says, I can't believe we're taking a girl. Like, I like this Kevin guy. But this girl, she's not Ozark. She's not country.
Where's Kevin, Ma?
That's right, Ma. Neither am I. As a matter of fact, the only thing I am is about the 1907 Mumbly Pig champion of Cairo, Illinois.
Well, you're different. You're a friend of Freddie's. Freddie likes you. And I'm aiming to pleasure myself with you.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's just like, okay. People say ridiculous shit, and everyone's just like, okay.
All right. Yeah.
I guess that's how it is.
Yeah, I guess we'll do that then. Yeah. I mean, she busted him out of prison, so,
Sure.
It's the least he can do.
So this is one car. This is what's happening in one car, right?
Okay.
So we go to the other car, which is full of Herman, Mustache Man,
right,
Mona, and 2 brothers. I don't remember, Arthur, I think, and I think Lloyd. And he's like, well, can I have sex with Mona, Herman? And Herman's like, well, yeah, that's fine, but after she's married, no one touches her. He's like, all right, so come on back, Mona. And they start banging in the back seat. And he's like, Arthur asks, like, Walt, they're fucking, like, do you really love Herman? And she's like, no, yeah, I guess. But also, I love you, Arthur. And I'm just like, what is going on in this scene? And obviously, Lloyd's in the front seat, just fucking high as shit, just having a good time.
Yeah, just loving this whole thing.
And it's just like, what?
This seat sounds insane.
It's wild.
How was Herman feeling about all this?
he seems like whatever.
Yeah.
She's just a lady, but I set my rules down. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. So then everyone's just hanging out on like just a random spot, I guess, on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And Lloyd's doing heroin, having a great time.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's hanging out. And I think Kevin and Herman are playing like this game where they throw knives on the ground and try to hit each other's feet. And I think Kevin's hustling Herman. I don't really know what the goal is. They're just throwing knives at the ground.
Trying to see who can get closest.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
And Kevin, I guess, hustles him. It seems like he won whatever the game was. I have no idea what the rules are. This is wild to me. Kevin, like,
if only this movie had established the rules of the knife game.
This movie doesn't establish anything.
Yeah.
Except these people are bad. And let me tell you, I'm going to keep telling you how bad they are.
I can't wait to hear more about how bad they are.
Well, then, you know, Mona's just talking about, like, you know, I'm kind of bored or whatever. And then Herman walks over, just throws her out of the hammock and says, you know, you're ugly. You got these gross legs and your stomach's nasty. And like, I'm like, what the fuck?
Bro.
And she just runs off. I'm like, why did you just throw that to your lady friend? Like,
The
aren't you
person
going to
you're
marry her?
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever. And she's just like, I guess that's fine. Like, whatever. Like, people just do ridiculous shit and no one reacts to it.
Yeah. I've not seen Ethan this upset.
It's okay.
Talking about a movie in a very long time.
I was just...
No, it's fair. No, it's fair. It is very upsetting.
And I guess that's the point, right? I'm supposed to feel this way.
You are supposed to feel this. It's supposed to begin a reaction.
But what's the point?
Money. They wanted to make money.
I guess you're right. You're right. This is what Marvel films used to be back in the day.
And they wanted to show off the great acting chops of Robert De Niro playing a drug-addled fool who can barely talk.
Speaking of which, he has some great moments here. He's sitting by a lake. He's all drugged up, and some lady swims up to him. She's in the lake, and she swims up. And she's like, "My name is Rembrandt. What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Why, you're so crazy. You're so silly. Why do you have your feet in the water with your shoes on?" He's like, "Well, I don't know. I just thought it'd be nice." She's like, "Why are you in the water?" And she's like, "I'm artistic."
Oh.
It's just a huge flirt the whole time. And, like, climbs up on, like, to the dock and, like, lays on there and is all sexy and stuff. I was like, "Oh." She's like, "Well, why don't you give me a little kiss?" And she's like, No. And then he takes a little too far.
Whoa.
Gets on top of her. And she's like, "Oh, what are you, drunk or something? Like, you acted so silly." She's still kind of into it.
Sure.
And he goes, "No, I'm not drunk. I'm high. I do lots of dope. Check out these needles on my arm."
Oh my
marks on my arm.
God.
And now she's a little less excited. This is the first time someone reacts to anything crazy anyone's done in this. She's just like, "Oh, I don't like this.
Not a fan of that.
Can you let me go, please? Everything frightens me," he says. Everything, including you. He says, "Oh, I'm not people. You see? I'm not people. Oh, no, us barkers." Oh, I shouldn't have said barkers.
Oh, no.
I shouldn't have said that. Now I'm going to have to. Well, then he assaults her and then ties her up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well then.
And then you see her. Next scene is you see her tied up in I guess their house,
right
by the lake, and her swimsuit's all torn up. Ma's looking over at her, and you know Lloyd just says, "Oh, she was so cute. I had to just take a shot at her." And he says, "Ma, you're such an idiot, Lloyd. You fucked this whole thing up. You told everyone our name.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna have to keep her here because she knows our name. And don't worry, everyone will have a shot at her."
Oh my God.
So Ma, that's what thing is like, what the fuck is Ma? She's just like, don't have sex with this person. She's disgusting. But this lady you found in a lake?
Yeah.
Go ham. Like, what the It's so inconsistent.
All you want is some consistency.
I want some consistency.
Yeah,
I don't blame Shelly Winters. She's just trying to make a buck, I'm sure.
Nobody is blaming Shelly Winters
I'm not blaming anyone in this movie. I just think this movie is so poorly written.
Yes. I like how it's also like this is what they say that this is supposed to be a representation of who these people are.
Yeah.
And they're doing.
I love that they're trash. That's one of my favorite parts. They're just trashing these people's names.
Yeah.
Like fuck
dragging
them.
it through the mud. Yeah.
Anyway, and then Ma goes to Herman, who's in the bath, and was like,
yes.
"We got to kill that girl, baby. We got to go kill that girl." And Herman's like, "Why don't we just kill Lloyd? Fuck that guy." And I'm like, honestly, it's the first thing Herman said that I'm like, all right.
Yeah, he's got.
But Ma's like, "That's immoral." She's like, "All right, because it's in the family." Right. And he says, "Okay, we'll have Mona kill Lloyd." And Mona's there like, I guess
I don't care.
No reaction. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
I'll kill people. I mean, clearly she's fine with this lifestyle, I guess.
Sure. I mean, he gets her diamond rings.
He gets her diamonds, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not really showing it to anyone except for a bunch of everyone here. But maybe I don't understand the appeal.
No.
And then he says, yeah, that way it keeps us out of the family. And then he says, Mom, are we more famous than Dillinger? And that's the end of my half.
Yes. And Ma is like disturbed by this question, and Herman is like singing a song. Apparently there's been a song written about Ma and the sons.
Yeah, they're getting famous.
And he sings it to her, and she's like, that's disturbing, son. Don't sing that. Now I'm gonna kill this fucking woman. and so she goes in and grabs this woman. I don't know who the woman is. I was like, oh, okay, I guess there's just like a lady, and she's like clearly like been assaulted because her like clothes are all ripped and stuff.
Swimsuit, yeah.
And she grabs her and pushes her into a tub and drowns her with her bare hands. And we get this shot of like Shelly Winters, like her face is just like full of like she's completely lost track of reality. Eyes are like unfocused, just like fucking drowning her.
It's probably her
like,
just thinking about her career
down.
as she accepted this movie.
Yeah, she's like, what am I doing here? And we cut to Robert De Niro, who is very sad.
Poor boy.
I was like, oh man, okay. This is probably why I like this movie, because I was like, from my perspective, I'm like, man, clearly, he and the rest of the sons are all under their controlling Ma's thumb, and he must have fallen in love with this girl, and they got too close.
You giving the benefit of the doubt to these boys.
I didn't know. I was like,
meanwhile, I'm over here watching them just commit absolute heinous crimes across town.
To people.
The only one who hasn't really done anything, I would say, is Freddie.
I don't know who Freddie is.
He has the friend Kevin.
Oh yeah,
because he just kind of is more of he's definitely a victim.
Yeah.
Everyone else though,
Herman's definitely not.
Herman's
not
De Niro Lloyd's
either.
Not. Yeah.
So and then Ma says, this is the land of the free, but you aren't free unless you're rich, she says. And so that's her idea, is like she wants to be the freest person of all. So she wants all the money. So, yeah, you're starting to relate to Mama. So Mama, she goes...
I'm starting to relate to her, yeah. I mean, exactly. I just agree with... It's the worst person makes an okay point. You know?
Exactly. Broken clocks right twice a day. So Ma goes in and sees her two sons in bed. I think one of them is... the other one, what's the name of the son that you said?
Freddie?
Freddie. Sees Freddie and goes, then Freddie's like, Ma, do you want me to sleep with you tonight? And Ma's like, no, I want Kevin tonight.
Yeah.
And then Freddie's like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, come on over here, Kevin. And at this point, I was like, is Kevin one of the sons? Like, I didn't know.
Mean, obviously, it seems like that doesn't matter, right?
And so Kevin rolls out of bed and rolls on top of Freddie and like looks him in the eyes, and then rolls off of him again.
They clearly have a thing.
Clearly, and is like, all right, I'm gonna go fuck your mom, buddy. And then Freddie's like lying in bed and he's smoking, and he like hears stuff from the other room, and he takes his cigarette and just burns his hand with it to like numb the pain. Yeah. And I'm just like, God damn.
Freddie's sad.
Freddie's a sad guy. He's a sad boy.
He definitely feels like he fell into this more. I think he's the one who also was like, Mom's not going to like that, when Herman was going to kill that guy.
And also, De Niro's very sad, too. He's very, very sad. He's like, nobody wants to, he's just not talking to anybody. He's just like looking out the window. And I'm like, man, this poor guy, his fucking girlfriend just got murdered. It's fucking awful. And then Ma's like, what's everyone feeling so sad about? She's like, let's all sing a song. And they sing this song called I Didn't Raise My Boy to Be a Soldier, which is some old like battle hymn or whatever. Okay. And they're singing it all together, but everyone seems very less than enthusiastic to be singing.
I love that multiple movies have Shelly Winters playing like piano.
And also, right after this, a newsreel.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Which mentions like FDR and all that stuff too. And what else happens? And so yeah, so that happens. A newsreel happens. She says the cops are too busy shooting strikers during the Depression, so we just robbed banks and got away with it.
Probably true.
Not a big deal.
That's like the only interesting commentary I feel like this movie's done.
The movie continues to hit that note and over, and I'm just like,
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
that's fair. That's totally fair. Yeah, I don't think any of this other stuff is fair.
Yeah, I know.
So then Ma's like, we gotta make more money. We can't just keep robbing banks. So she's like, there's this guy named Sam, and he's
he's an uncle.
He's got.
I'm just gonna rob the government.
I think his name is literally like Samuel Adams McCarthy or something like that.
That is the most American name.
It is.
Yeah.
And he has like $3 million, she says. And so she's like, we're gonna kidnap him. and we're going to have a ransom for him so we can get a ton of his money, basically. Mm-hmm. And so she gets her sons to go and like kidnap him. But when they get him, they smash him over the head so hard, making him bleed, which head wounds, bleeding head wounds. Yeah. And he goes blind from it. He actually ends up losing his ability to see after being beaten so hard. And the sons are like, "Oh, we really shouldn't have done. We shouldn't have hit him so hard." But they were just like, "Oh, he's a wimp." Oh, what are you looking up something?
I was trying to see if I could find any information of this guy. This is like a really I'm trying to see what was real, what's not, but it's kind of all lumped together. It's hard to parse. I feel like they just made specific ones up.
I think so. Yeah, but they don't know that he's blind yet, so they put like some goggles on him so that he wouldn't be able to see like where they're going, where they are. And they bring him home or wherever they are, or their hideout is. And Mona's like, we need a doctor. We need somebody to take care of him. And Mom's like, that's the first smart thing you said, Mona. You should take care of him, and then we'll call the doctor. So they contact the wife for the ransom and the doctor, and a doctor comes by and actually like fixes the guy up and like saves his life basically, but. Again, he is unable to see this guy, Sam. So all the boys start chatting with Sam. We got Herman's talking with Sam, and they're like one-on-one. And Sam comes across as this very sort of clever and upset guy, understandably very upset because he just got fucking like kidnapped and now he's blinded. And he's like, it sounds like they're taking a lot of time to get the money together because it's a lot of money. And he starts calling Herman Sonny. And he says, because you sound like a kid. You don't sound like a full-grown adult. You sound like a boy.
Yeah.
And I just wrote down the audio is so bad. You can hear the echo in the room.
Yep.
And then Herman's like, Sam, what color eyes do you have? And Sam says, blue. And he goes, our dad had blue eyes. And I'm like,
yeah, he has a thing. There was another thing with when they robbed the jeweler, they didn't kill him because he's like, he's got dad's eyes.
Yes.
And Herman's like, you do have dad's eyes. And he kind of walked away.
So I was like, did they not know who their dad was?
No, they knew him.
Yeah, they did. So I was like, that's
for
not
a long
thing.
time. And they just kind of left him, and they all kind of thought he was a loser. So like,
well, to be fair, I don't think that was their dad though. I think that was their dad, but that wasn't their father, like biologically.
I mean,
I'm assuming that their dads were like her like brothers, and
they said your father. I mean, they said your father was.
Yeah, but I don't think. But remember, she says you're bad at like mounting me, so I think that's also to imply that none of the kids were his own.
Yeah, that could be true.
That's my guess. Either way, I was like, maybe they don't know their dad. Clearly, they did. Ma and Sam talk about his family. He has a wife, and he's got 3 kids. And the Ma's like, he's like, well, I don't understand why your wife is putting us in such a difficult spot. We just want the money, and now she's trying to contact the FBI and all this stuff. And if she really cared about you, she just give us the money. Like, I don't understand why she's making such a fuss. And Sam's just like, dude, it's like she loves me. She wants to make sure I'll be okay. And she's like, fuck that. And then Sam's like, I don't like when women swear. He says that should be left to men. And I'm like, oh, Sam's a piece of shit. Sam's a bad guy.
Which is funny though, because earlier she's like, I don't want any swearing in my house.
Exactly. So Mona and Herman look to see. Oh, right. So Mona and Herman are because apparently there's like a place where they're gonna check to see if the money has been gotten together yet, and they go to check the place, and there's like supposed to be a whole code, and the code implies that they've only gotten half the money and not all of it yet. As they're literally just like in the car, they like drive by this building, they see a sign showing them, and then Mona's like, by the way, I'm pregnant, and Herman's like, what? And he like smashes the car, and all these cops are going like, who the fuck is this? And there's this big intense car chase, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty well shot. And they get in this big old car chase, but they end up getting away.
Okay.
And another movie with Shelly Winters where there is an unwanted pregnancy.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Sort of theme. Is it that because of her or because of the theme of movies back then?
Probably that too. So Ma's drunk, and she's just full on now flirting with Sam. She's just like, hey, you want to make love? And he's like, well, I can't really do that because you've got me all tied up. And she's like, well, maybe I can untie you. Just keep the goggles on. And he's like, well, if you untied me, suppose I get loose and I kill you. And she's like, well, supposing I just had my boys watching us with a gun, and if you made any false move, they'd shoot you.
You know, we're a bunch of freaks in here, huh?
And he's like, that sounds like a really awful way to make love, like in front of your sons. And it's like kind of in this moment where it's like yeah, like she's willing to do like this is a fucking gross, weird family full of people.
Yeah.
And like he's absolutely just like stuck in the middle of like the most awful situation, you know?
It is nice to have someone who's just kind of like normal-ish, just
Normal-ish,
like being like
yeah.
reacting and being like, what the fuck is going on? So
Yeah.
it seems a little more centered than like you know, the first half of the movie where it's just like you're kind of going through people and like, who am I supposed to latch on to? All these people kind of suck.
This guy kind of sucks a little bit too, but like definitely not as much.
No,
as, no.
The worst thing you say about this guy is he's like, I think men should be able to swear, and that's it. And I'm like,
exactly.
Compared to what they're doing,
fine.
that's like something I can argue with.
Yeah.
You know.
And then she says, "You wish you were more like us. You read about us and you listen to us, listen about us, and it's like we're the important people in the country now." And then she says, "I'm hotter than Eleanor Roosevelt."
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
She says that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So then the sons all sit around Sam because apparently they've gotten all the money together now. The money's been gotten. They're going to release him, and they're shaving him, and they've all grown attached to Sam. They're like they really like him.
New dad.
He's their new dad basically, and he's like, you know, they're like, we're really excited to let you go and return you to your family. We got some really nice sunglasses for you. Recommend wearing those, you know, because your eyes might be
fucked up. Wonder why,
up.
you know.
Yeah, and then they're like, you know, if you get out there and you need anything, just reach out and let us know. And he's like, how am I supposed to do that? How am I supposed to reach out? I don't know who any of you are. I don't even know how to get in contact with you. And they're just like, oh, yeah, that's right. That's not really how this is supposed to work. And then Herman comes over and he's like, remove the goggles. And they're like, what if he sees us? And he's like, do it. And they remove the goggles and they all go, he looks just like Dad.
Oh my God.
But he is blinded and he can't see them.
Yeah.
And he says, if I was your dad, I'd put all you over my knee and spank you.
That's what these kids need. If they only were spanked as kids,
they would
probably not become rapists
and
murderers. Yeah.
And bank robbers. So Ma, sounds like they got the money and they're driving Sam to the drop-off point. But then Ma's like, you know what? I don't want him to live. If we drop him off, he might give us information about us. And then they're all like, no, he's not. You don't even know who we are. He's blind. There's like nothing they can do. And she's like, you know what? Just because you're giving a fuss, we are going to kill him. Let's pull over the side and you have to go out and murder him.
She's so evil.
She's real evil. And so they go off and they're like,
I see how you could start feeling bad for these boys now.
I do. I feel terrible for them.
Yeah.
And they all of them sound so fucking upset and like disappointed. And they all leave except for Herman is sitting right there. And she says, son, Herman, you were my firstborn. When you came out, I tied off your belly button. I'd do anything for you, son. And then she leans in and she gives him a big old fucking kiss right in the lips. And then she says, I'd kill for you, son.
That's what she said in the beginning of the movie. As a little girl.
And Herman says, I love you, Mom. And then she's like, all right, I love you too. And then he's like, I'm going to go kill that guy. And he pulls out a gun and leaves. And we get to like zoom in on Shelly Winters, just like, yeah, my boys are going to be okay. I love them.
Yeah, they'll kill for me.
Everything's going to be okay. Later that evening, Shelly Winters is like playing the piano. Sorry, Ma is playing the piano.
I know, we've been calling her Shelly Winters.
I know. She really hasn't disappeared into this role.
No, because Ma is such a cartoon character.
Exactly.
Like, she watching her portray Shelly Winters, or Ma, see, that's the thing. Watching Shelly Winters play Ma in Batman,
yeah,
so much better.
Way better than this.
So much, it fits the vibe so much better.
So she's playing the piano. It's late at night. All the boys are just sitting around. And then Herman comes in the room. And Herman's like, we didn't kill that man, Mom. And Mom's like, what? And they're like, we didn't kill him. And we cut and we see that they put the glasses on him. They gave him some food. And then, because in the earlier scene, we hear a gunshot.
Right.
And they just literally just like shot at the ground.
That makes sense.
Just let him run. And then we cut to Shelly Winters and she's like, what? This is the first time she's ever been defied by her sons. Ever. And she's like, how dare you? And she like slaps Herman across the face, and then Herman smacks her right back, and she falls to the ground. She's on her back. She's wearing like a night dress, and her like legs are exposed and stuff, and it's all very revealing and it's very overwhelming. And he's like, I am a grown man, Mom. You cannot treat us like this. You can't talk to us like this. And he's like, I'm the leader now. And he walks off with Mona, and they walk off together. And Shelly Winters is on the ground, fucking sobbing, crying. And he's like, we're going south. We're going to Florida. That's the next place we're going.
Yeah, sounds like a good time. Sure.
So
the Everglades.
So they go to Florida, and they run into Scatman Crothers, who's playing this guy named Moses. And he's the guy that like is I guess overseeing the house that they're all staying at.
Sure.
And they're like, what's fun stuff to do here? And he's like, well, there's old Joe. And they're like, who's old Joe? And there's like, he's the biggest gator in the Everglades.
I like this guy.
Scott McCruthers fucking rocks in this movie. I love him. And De Niro's acting really weird. He keeps like repeating Joe like repeating Moses every time.
Do you not know he's doing drugs at this point?
Well, no, I didn't actually. Okay. I had no idea. And then it's at this point, because I was like, is he just being like rude? Like, what is he? Why does he just keep repeating people? And then it's like, it's the dope, Ma. It's that needle. He keeps pinching. And then this is the big moment for De Niro, and he just keeps repeating himself, and he's like throwing his fucking clothes around. I'm like, damn, this guy's gonna fucking grow up to be in bad grandpa or whatever the fuck. That's what this guy's gonna be known for. Meet the Fockers, man. Or Little Fockers. He's really putting in a performance here. And then he goes out and he's looking over at the water and he takes out a needle and he overdoses.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, wow, he really loved that girl, That girl really meant a lot to him.
Nope. He said, I think she was pretty, so I took a shot at her.
Yep, exactly. So then we go to Bruce Stern and Herman, and they're like, there's a gator out there? Let's feed a pig to it. So they find this tiny little brown pig,
oh my God,
and they tie it up into into a noose, and they just drag it out the back of a boat, like trying to like lure this gator out. And then
does it work?
It works.
Wow.
Well, so let's take this at a time.
Okay.
So they got the pig out the back of the ship, or the boat. Sorry, that's not a ship. It's a boat. And then we cut to De Niro's body being found, and Ma and the family are all so upset. And Ma goes to the edge of the Everglades, yelling out to Herman, like, Herman, your brother's dead. And he's like, what? And he's like, your brother's dead. And he's like, well, bury him deep. Because he didn't give a fuck.
Damn.
He didn't give a fucking fuck about this fucking thing. And so then he's like, hey, there's Big Joe. There's old Joe. And the camera cuts, and there is the shittiest looking paper mache alligator out in the middle of the woods, barely moving. It looks like utter shit.
I love that.
Looks like hot shit, just sitting there, not moving at all. And it's just like, there it is. And then they pull a Tommy gun out, and they just start fucking lighting up this like paper mache gator, and blood just starts splattering everywhere in the water.
Oh
and then we cut to Moses, Scott McCruthers on the side of the Everglades, and he overhears all this, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? So he runs into town. He gets on a phone. He's like, hey, there's these people, strangers that just arrived today. They pulled out a Tommy gun. They killed old Joe. And they're like, strangers with a Tommy gun? Do they have like Tennessee plates? And he's like, yeah.
Uh-oh.
And they're like, I think we know who they are. So
who else went around with Tommy gun shooting old gators?
Exactly. If only they didn't kill old Joe,
it all comes back to old Joe. You just don't go around killing animals. That's, you can kill tons of people. People are like, whatever, but
The minute you kill an innocent animal with a Tommy gun.
People are like, come on, that was old Joe.
It's old Joe. So, what happens next? So then the next morning, Mona wakes up and goes over to Herman, and Mona says, hey, Herman, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go to Miami. And Herman's like, all right, remind me when you get there. Maybe I'll visit you one day. She goes, okay, bye. Then we come back to Herman. He's just like crying. And I'm just like, damn, man, this is fucking emotional, man. This is great shit. And then the cops arrive. And they just start fucking shooting up the house. They're just like, they just start shooting the fucking house up. And then Bruce Stern pops out of the window. He's like, I'm not one of them. I'm not part of the family. And then Shelly Winters goes, God damn right you're not. And just fucking shoots him in the back of the Tommy gun. Nice. He just fucking falls off the side of the roof. And the guy from prison, Freddie.
Kevin,
sees all this. And goes over to Ma and fucking points a gun at her. Like, nice. Ma, you shouldn't have fucking shot my friend from prison. And she goes, he's like,
and Freddie, so that guy who died was Kevin.
Yes.
Okay, and Freddie's now going to kill Mom.
Freddie is like going to kill Mom, but then he doesn't. He holds back, but he can tell he's like, tides are starting to turn. And so there's a fucking shooting him up. And then a car full of families show up. And they just like have a little fucking picnic and watch this fucking shootout. They're just like enjoying and laughing and like pointing and shit.
It's hilarious. This is what we expected from Florida.
This is entertainment.
Well, old Joe's gone, so you got to go to the next best thing, the local shootout.
The shootout.
Yeah.
It felt a lot like Bonnie and Clyde. There's like no music, quick shots of people getting shot. Fucking Freddie pops out with a fucking Molotov cocktail and throws it at the cop car and it blows up. But then because he's out of the house, they just fucking light Freddie up. All the boys start fucking dying. Like everyone starts fucking dying. Mm-hmm. And the only ones left are Ma and Herman. And Ma's coming down the stairs, and she's like, Herman, all your brothers are dead. Herman, they're all dead. What are we going to do, Herman? They're all dead. They're all dying out there. Those fucking pigs killed them all. And then and she's just ranting and raving and going on. And we just keep coming back to Herman, and Herman's just sitting there looking at her. And then he like pulls out a Tommy gun, and then he slowly turns it to face himself. And he just fucking shoots himself in the face with the Tommy gun.
Oh my God.
His face just fucking explodes everywhere. All in Mama's face, and Mama's like, she's fucking hysterical. I wrote down, it's like an Ari Aster movie. She's like, her pain is so upsetting and uncomfortable. She's just like, and then she like pulls out a Tommy gun and she starts shooting out at the cop. She goes, you had everything and we had nothing. She just starts fucking shooting. And then
this movie was right. He did commit suicide, but it was just because he got pulled over by a cop with a sidecar.
Oh, so that wasn't accurate, though.
Yeah.
This is way more dramatic.
Oh, of course. This sounds way more crazy. This sounds like way over the top.
It's like fucking crazy. And so then she goes up to the very top, and she just starts fucking shooting them all up. Like, fuck all you fucking pigs. It's like fucking like Scarface or something.
It sounds like that.
And then she finally, she's out enough, and then she starts getting lit up. She fucking starts dying.
Man. Is there a great shot where Shelly Winters is convulsing, getting riddled with bullets,
Yes.
and there's squibs going everywhere?
And then she falls slowly to the ground in slow motion. And as she falls, we get cuts to all of her sons dead.
Cool.
It's like dramatic and artistic. And then she hits the ground, and then she's lying dead. It like slowly fades to black and white. And then a postage stamp pops up on screen. And it says, it's a postage stamp, a real one. And it just says, in honor of Mothers of America, 3 cents. And then the credits start rolling. And that's the end of the movie. And I was like, I love this. This is great. It's about a fucking mom who controlled her sons.
You got a great time.
I really did.
Movie.
It's
like,
very dramatic, very
it's just
emotional.
a bunch of people killing each other. You know, there's not really any like sexual assault. Like
not
every
at all.
fucking 10 minutes.
The only sexual assault that was like hinted at again was like her and her
that's
sons.
just
But
implied.
even then, it was like I felt bad for her sons. I was like, you're clearly being like horribly
clearly,
treated.
yeah. But apparently, I guess the FBI killed her initially.
Yeah, that's what happened in the movie.
I suppose that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was accurate.
But and her son's Fred after Arthur was arrested in Chicago. Yeah.
So they didn't all die at the same time.
No, they didn't all die at the same time. It was a lot of like all over the place.
Yeah.
Both bodies were found in the same front bedroom. Fred's body was riddled with bullets, but Ma appeared to have died from a single bullet wound. So one did die around that same time.
Okay.
That's from my quick view on Wikipedia. I want to let you know also that from the book, according to Roger Corman.
Oh yeah.
This is one of his favorite movies they made.
Really?
And this is from his book titled "How I Made 100 Movies in Hollywood and Never Lost a Dime."
That's a great story.
That's a great title.
That's a great title.
Like you literally know
amazing.
Exactly what you're gonna get.
Yeah, man. That's what happens when you make movies really cheap. You know, it's like as long as you make your budget back, everything's gonna be fucking fine.
Yeah, it's very true.
I liked my half of the movie. I don't think I can answer to everything about this movie.
I think that's fair. I think we saw like. I think this is definitely like we saw two completely different halves of the movie.
We really did.
Yours sounded like more fun and like a ridiculous. Like that's what I expected in an exploitation film to be.
Yeah.
Not all the other stuff.
It was fun and ridiculous, but there were moments of like genuine like empathy and pathos. You know? Like the scene where Ma's like fucking depressed and just drinking, and she wishes she had like a husband like Sam, but knows that she could never get it.
Yeah,
you know.
Boyd, I feel, is like the only one who maybe gets a bit of that in my half.
Yeah,
because you see him sniffing glue while making paper airplanes. No one seems to care. Like that's probably the saddest part. And then the rest is just ridiculous. I mean, I guess I got to see a cool scene with this bunch of ladies hanging on the side of a car, which is kind of a crazy idea.
Awesome.
That part was pretty fun.
It sounds like something out of a Fast and Furious.
It does. It's kind of the blueprint. Like Dom. I mean, Dom would never. Hold those ladies.
But Jason Momoa's character,
he might
100% giggling,
Fast 11,
giddily.
Yeah, it'd be great. And he'll be talking to their dead bodies, be like, hee, I'm crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that's honestly the biggest problem in the movie is like the second half of the movie, they like really humanize everybody. But the first half of the movie is just like a giggling, like, are these people fucking nuts and evil and crazy and monstrous? So it's like, yeah, they are. Yeah. I don't know. I
kind of get it. You could have showed like, I don't know, the first 10 minutes of the movie, and I've been like, all right, these guys are a piece of shit. Now let's try to see why I care about them. And I never did until like your half. So you literally were just like, here's all the humanizing. Awesome. I relate to these people. Wow, it's really sad. Boy, Lloyd's girlfriend must have
really
loved her.
Beat up about his girlfriend being killed.
Yeah.
I was like, because I was also, that didn't make any sense to me either. I'm like, how is it that like Herman gets a fucking girlfriend, but like Lloyd doesn't go? And that seems so unfair. And now I realize why.
Yeah.
She wasn't his girlfriend.
She was not at all.
But yeah, I liked it. I liked my half. I did not like the movie. And hearing more about it, I didn't like it.
That's fair. I figured after I told you what happened, I'm like, you must have seen a different movie, dude.
Oh, I did. Didn't it sound like I did?
It did. I mean, you didn't see this nice picture.
I did. And Ethan's now pulling up
I'm
again
pulling up
the
the picture of all the boys naked.
Yeah,
it's a good
that
picture.
Sounds like a great time.
I'm gonna put it in my phone background.
It is also kind of funny that like they had to give everyone like blonde or red wigs.
Yeah, which is weird because I'm looking at pictures of like
actual
the people,
characters.
and
they all
it's
had
like,
dark hair.
They all had dark hair. It was very weird.
Yeah,
like,
very odd choice.
I don't know why they did that. Maybe make them stand out more.
Maybe. But yeah, I think this is definitely the lowest Shelly Winters movie that we've ever seen. But honestly, not bad. This is more like you know, you're batting pretty well. One big miss. Bunch of other hits.
I guess you're right. I guess if you're saying, but also this was a curated list by a dear friend. So.
That is a fair point.
We are going off of a list that was curated. You know, you got to see all. You got to see the camp.
And that's a good point. This was campy. Did you guys, if you want to listen to movies previous of this list, find them on any podcatching app. And while you're there, please leave a 5-star rating and review. We will read in the show no matter what it says, even if you say it's inspired by true events, but it isn't. And if you want to get a hold of us, if you want to recommend any other Shelly Winters movies, email us at emailtheotherhalfpodcast.com or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, or our Discord. We'd love to hear from you.
I agree with all that statement. I stand behind it. I'm trying to think of a fun joke, but like
there's nothing fun
about like anything Ma did. I guess we could go rob a guy. Maybe make him blind. No, it seems mean.
Let's do that. Let's go rob a guy and make him blind.
All right. You know what? You convinced me. Why not? That was kind of that sounded like the best part of the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go reenact it.
Let's get blind. Good night, everybody.